All right, guys. Let's jump right in. So we're gonna do some like live like pair programming to show everybody like what the big deal is about like, AI. And so Will, what are you working on today? What is next on your to-do list? What
I'm
features are
working
on the roadmap?
through a project. It's a kind of voice-to-voice application for students to take a assessment. So, right, rather than like it's a verbal assessment. So think you're like learning Spanish, you're learning a different language. Maybe you're upskilling your English or learning English for the first time. You would come into the app, take an assessment, and then it gets graded by so you're like communicating with an agent, and then you are graded as well by an LLM. Um, that incorporated prompt engineering, and it can be tweaked depending on like how you want your rubric to look. So that's what I'm working on today.
Great. And so I guess who would be the end user of this app? Like who is this app for?
This app is for students and teachers. So
Hmm.
it's a way for like imagine you're a teacher and you have 100 students administering a verbal assessment, right? That would
Okay.
take 300 minutes, even if it's a 3 minute assessment. So that can eat into, teachers are already busy enough. So this is a way to like kind of like offer a solution where students can be assessed, and maybe it's not for the total grade, maybe it is, but if anything, give the teacher insight into where people are at in their classroom so that they can focus in and help out those who are struggling and kind of encourage those who are doing well to do even better.
Okay, so I guess like one potential use case I would imagine is like what kind of coursework you would want to assign to the student, right? Depending, I guess, on how they do the assessment would be the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, definitely. This one's specifically for language,
Hmm.
but the kind of interface right now, it needs some styling, which is what I was going to work on. Like there's some
Cool.
generic things that need to be fixed. But I just have like two options because these are the languages I know, but the idea is to have
Right,
multiple.
yeah.
So that was your question. Might have missed it.
Cool. Okay. I also just like something that immediately stood jumped out at me is like, what am I looking at here? Because is this VS Code? This is not VS Code, and it's also not Cursor, and it's also not like Xcode, so it's not like Eclipse. What is this editor that you're using? What is the setup?
Yeah, this is called Warp Terminal. So it's a terminal, but they've added in some agentic features. And since it's
Okay.
just a terminal, you can run Claude code in it, you can run AMP code in it, you can run Cursor CLI agent in it. I've kind of like gravitated towards this workflow. As you can see, I have multiple tabs. So each tab can be doing a different project. So I'm like chipping away at some Oracle infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then this tab, I'm focused specifically on this project that's up here on the right. So it's broken up into like multiple agents, and I can like run down here. I'm running the server and the dev server here. This is probably like a lot going on. Typically, it's maybe I have my agent and then my servers on the right. Um, this is just where I am at, where
Okay.
you came in to talk to me.
So this is only the this is just the terminal. This is Orb, you said?
It's called, yeah, Warp Terminal.
Oh, Warp terminal. Got it. Cool.
Yes. So I can just like, open Ubuntu,
Oh,
whatever.
got it. So it's like a terminal with like a few with some agentic features.
Yeah. So like you can see I have GPT-5. I can switch to
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
models,
uh-huh.
and then I can say like, I don't know, run, some shell commands or like, I don't know, echo hello.
Wait, so do you use an editor at all? Like, are you even like opening up like files and looking at the file structure and going in and making edits? Is that happening at all, or are we like not even like opening up an editor? Like we're just straight up like in
Yeah.
the terminal and in the
Typically,
browser. That's it.
let's do make dir new whatever
Yeah.
movie, and then just cd into it and then we'll like. So what I've gotten into is you can use micro. It's really nice. Micro, I don't know, hello.mb. So
Oh, are you using like a Vim like type of editor, like a in
uh,
like a in terminal thing?
So yeah, it's not exactly Vim. This is what I would call Vim for noobs, but
Yeah.
Micro is just one of these examples. But Warp has a lot
Okay.
of features like I can click on a markdown file and then
Yeah.
let's see, I can open it up right here. Um,
Yeah.
I could have, touch whatever hello dot, TS and then micro into hello TS and write some const hello equals, I don't know, world,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Okay. All right. So for everybody watching, I was like really confused when I first like looked at the setup because generally what I'm used to is I'm used to just having like a integrated editor, right? I'm used to using like Cursor, I'm used to using like VS Code, and what I'm used to seeing is like, okay, we have a file structure on the left-hand side that lays out like, okay, here's all the files that I'm working with, right? We have like in the typical application we have like all our front-end components, right? Your button is potentially like a file, and your routes are a file, your interfaces are another file. And then what I expected to see was like, a bunch of code in the middle that I could like edit, and then maybe a terminal at the bottom where I can send instructions to the computer on like what to do, right? And Will here actually has totally the setup I've actually never seen before, but it's like really cool. He calls it warp terminal, so he's just talking to the terminal mostly. And when he needs to actually make an edit, he uses not Vim, this thing called Micro. Yeah, he uses
Yeah,
Micro.
micro. It's kind of like the nano editor or
Yeah,
nano.
yeah, yeah.
Just
And that'll
expand.
just like open up like the specific file that he needs for him to like make spot edits, like when he needs to actually go do that.
Exactly. So you can see like similar flow, and I'll open cursor. I have it still over here, but that's only if I'm like
Yeah,
probably in something a little more complicated. I find myself in this flow because it's really nice. You probably heard people talking about things like Claude Code.
yeah.
Um, I can open up like four terminals and just run multiple, run Chungus. It's just my alias for YOLO mode. I can run like, here we go. I have, three different GPT-5. So, analyze the code base. So you can like run multiple things or multiple agents in parallel, npm run dev. So I can have like my dev server running. I can have three different agents running. It's a lot of
Hmm.
power just here. And
So
then,
you've got Claude Code, right? So you've got Claude Code running on this terminal.
yeah,
And yeah,
Claude
yeah,
Code
yeah, okay, I see it
on the
right
left.
there. Yep.
And
So
then, yeah, these are two CLI agents. This
yeah,
one's from Anthropic. This is the company who made SourceGraph. It's called AMP Code.
yeah,
And then this right here is Warp's built-in agent. So if you download Warp, they have an agent offering. You could use Warp as a terminal, but their agent's pretty good. And
yeah,
GPT-5, for example, I'm running that right now. Claude obviously runs Opus and Sonnet. Amp's base models Sonnet, but they have like some of their own optimizations and models they're using under the hood.
is GPT-5, and GPT-5 just came out like maybe a few days ago, I think, available in Warp Terminal. Can you get
Yeah,
access to it? Oh yeah, okay, I
I'm
see it
using
right there.
it.
Yep,
I'm
okay,
actually,
great.
it's kind of my default model now. I
Yeah,
think we're probably running like either mini or low because it goes really fast. Um,
yeah,
I've used Cursor's integration with GPT-5, like Pro Max High,
yeah,
and it's slow, but it's actually extremely good in my opinion. It's gotten some kind of like mixed reviews, and I
yeah.
think it's useful for doing something really complex. And really complex isn't creating a new feature or like styling a page. Imagine you have like a deeply integrated system with a very obscure API, and there's some error and you're like coming into a code base that's like disorganized. GPT-5 is able to like actually traverse your code base like a human would, like a senior engineer. You can kind of see its chain of thought and how it like will evaluate what's, in the working directory and then look at related files and kind of spend its time thinking, but make precise edits. Whereas Claude Code is just a monster. It will like rewrite your entire application. It's good, but they have different use cases.
I feel like okay, so I don't want to get confused here. So I think there's like many. So first of all, Claude Code is not a model, right? Cloud code refers to the CLI interface that you talk through to access one of the models. For example, 3.7 or like 4 Opus, right? That's like
Yeah.
my understanding of like what's going on. And so when you talk about GPT-5 having like the ability to traverse through your file system, is that a property of the GPT-5 model, or is that a property of like maybe like your editor or War? You're saying that's a property of the GPT-5
No,
model.
so all model or a lot of models, most models that are modern can call tools. GPT-5 has definitely been optimized in Cursor because of the Cursor team.
Mm,
So like Warps, it can still like read files, but it seems like, and you saw it on the day, well, you might have not seen it, but um, GPT-5's release, they had like the Cursor team there, so they were
yeah.
definitely collaborating. Um,
Okay. Great.
but like it can read files in Warp. It's just that yeah, Cursor team definitely did some good work
Okay.
with that integration. Like read, SRC, and tell me, I don't know what the project's doing. Project. What's nice about Warp 2 is they have like just kind of like first class like voice, so I can be like write your analysis to a markdown file.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a nice little feature. Little things like
Yeah.
that.
Helps with the carpal tunnel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like the general workflow. I like trying, every kind of model, or even just like these are both running some form of, anthropic models under the hood, but
Hmm.
you can see they've tailored their agents a little differently. So you can see some use cases. Like I learned that from working with AMP code that like O3 is actually really good in certain situations, but now that'd be probably GPT-5, but that team's evaluating whether or not they want to change their O3 integration. So AMP has, right, AMP runs Anthropic, but since they're not Anthropic, they're also using Gemini models. They're also using
Right.
OpenAI.
Right.
And then Warp's more of your classic, I just select the model I want to use.
Yeah. See. All right. Well, let's take a look at this setup in action, actually. Let's what is next on your roadmap here
Yeah,
that you want like achieve?
styling, you can see it's kind of basic, and there's things like there's no favicon, there's no like this is the boilerplate title on the page. So fixing that for sure. So we can knock that out. So let's just have AMP do it and not. Let's update the title and the favicon
All
for
right.
the application. Um, I'll just let it go for it. I could tell it, give it this application name and give it this favicon. I'll just see what it does. You can see the agent's going to work, right? It's understanding what I'm doing. You can see its train of thought. You can
Hmm.
then see, okay, it created a to-do list. It's marking to-dos off as it does them and going through. So now it's actually prompting me for a title. So it's smart enough to be like, what do you actually want? Um, Pipecat React Client. Let's do, I don't know, assessment. I don't know, bot. I'll just say surprise me.
Sure. Let's
I
see
would
what it.
normally
Yeah.
ask it. I'm just going to show like, um, since I don't have like a specific requirement, I'd probably have something like assessment, whatever. But here,
Hmm.
chat, like that works. That it's not something critical to me, so I'm not going to waste time thinking about it. This is for the use case or like my objective. It's not to make the best named application, so I'm not going to waste time thinking about that. But you can see there's chat flow, and I have a little chat icon. I actually think that's pretty good. Nice. So then, okay, we knocked out that update. So we can, why don't go ahead and pull Claude code in. And like, there's so much styling that needs to be done, but we could just let it run loose and see how it does. Um, Usually my styling prompts are a little long. So why don't we just knock out something a
So
little,
actually, so while we're on the topic of styling, so I wanted to ask you, so
yeah.
one common problem that I run into when I try to use agentic coding to try to style my apps is I run into like really I run into a lot of inconsistencies. Like for example, I think making a dark mode for your app. Let's say you wanted to make a dark mode, right? I would have some trouble doing that in like AI coding context because I would have to make sure like every component, every state um, has like a consistent like theme, right? And um, yeah, I haven't been able to have like a consistent like way of like pulling that off. Mostly it gets me like 60% the way there, and then I have to do it like a ton of manual like spot fixes to make sure, okay, have we checked like the error state of like this modal? Have we checked like the loading state of this page, right? Have we checked like the collapse state, the expand state, and everything like that? So what is like have you had like more luck than have you had a little bit more luck when it comes to like styling of like these agentic uh
Yeah. So one way to get consistent styling is, not reinvent the wheel. Um, Shad CN is used everywhere, but it kind of enforces like a specific styling guide. You can have it themed so that your app's consistent. Um, it works well. The components are accessible. So why don't we just tell, Claude here to install Shed CN for this application? Now,
mhm.
I probably would tell it to like analyze the app first. So analyze the let's see what's it called? The client SRC. I think it's React SRC. You understand the app. Let's install Shed CN because we're going to use, and yeah, we'll just do that. Let's install Shed CN. I got latest. So I'm just going to have it install Shad CN for me. Claude Code and AMP, both nice since they will call agents to like search online if you need to. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like Claude Code, its knowledge cutoffs in January of 2025. So it's probably smart enough to like understand how to install Shad CN correctly. Um, so I'm just going to let it do it. So that's kind of like my answer to that. Like if you want to have consistent styling, rely on a pre-built component library that gives you
Mhm.
a way to do that. And
Yeah.
just to show you like the search aspect I'm talking about, why don't we just do this and we'll say like, you know, look, analyze the code base. So I'm going to have AMP just analyze the code base. And then once it understands what application we're using, because it would be different if I was using Next.js, it'd be different if I was using Svelte. I'm going to have it install or like give me the latest news, or rather, latest best practices on Shad CN because we'll see that sometimes, Claude Code here or whatever agent you're using might try to install Tailwind V3, for example, which can be a headache. So you can do something like have your agent understand, the actual dependencies you're using and
Yeah.
version. And then from there, send them out. So it knows I'm using React 18, TypeScript V, and React Router V7. So now I can say search online for how to install Shad CN and Tailwind V4 into this kind of app. And I can say like, spawn I plus subagents in parallel search. And now it's going to shoot off a bunch of agents to search for how to do this. And you'll see it's kind of cool. Right,
Mhm.
one of these is a different actual model searching the web right now. Nice. Well, it might have just skipped that. Okay. Hey, no, it already has it. Maybe it's, I
Okay.
don't know. Awesome. This looks correct, right? That's definitely how you do it in Vite. So very nice there. Oh, it's
Yeah.
even Mary version. So yeah, this looks solid. Versus I didn't do the same thing over here for Claude Code, and you can see it's kind of struggling. So Tailwind V4 like is usually a pain point for these models since it was released, I don't know, in December of 2024.
Mhm.
So it's like maybe not fully. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's doing Tailwind V4. But this is one way to like optimize your agents is like go have them look at the docs and then install it correctly. Yeah, this is definitely looking like the correct way to do it. So that's just kind of like a one-off I wanted to show. Like this is pretty sure that's not the modern approach. So what I'll do is just have my AMP agent fix it after this is done. I could kill it, but that's kind of the vibe here.
Got it. So
Usually,
just to be clear, like your middle terminal is the amp terminal, and then everything else is warp, or
yeah, this is Claude code, this is AMP, and then I just have, devs. This is my backend server.
yep.
It's just clear LS.
And
So
and what did you? I think you might have explained this earlier, but what in what situations like would you use Claude Code versus like AMP?
that's it's definitely up to the individual. Um,
Because they're both like ter command line apps, right? Is what I'm understanding.
yeah, I think like if you saw like, did you see how quickly this finished its objective? Claude Code is really good at like moving a mountain. Like you
Yeah,
sometimes don't need your mountain moved. You just want to
yeah,
like, I don't know, plant a tree on it.
yeah.
If you said, hey, I want to plant a tree, you'd hope that's the outcome. And that's something like AMP would do, just as a random analogy.
Hmm.
If I was like, hey, I just want to move this mountain, do whatever, throw Claude code at it, and you're going to get, 10,000 lines of code versus AMP's going to do kind of more uh, precisely what you ask of it.
And also with AMP, you can use any model that you want, right? And then with Claude Code, you can only use Anthropic models, or can you also use like GPT and Claude Code?
So yeah, Claude Code offers Opus and Sonnet.
Yeah.
AMP, they don't let the user, you have to like change your settings to change a model, but they try to say, we are giving, here's the models to use.
Hmm.
So that you don't have to think about which model do I use for this task. Like that's what
Hmm.
the team behind AMP is kind of solving or trying to solve is like, we want developers just to use our tool and then automatically get whatever model is best for the job.
Got it. And
Um,
then with like so with multiple agents running at once, how do you handle like version control? If you run two, if you run two agentic processes, one in Claude Code, one in Warp, how do you make sure that they don't conflict?
yeah, I wouldn't run them in the same directory if they were both
Hmm.
files, if that makes sense. So what I would do is something like I did here, where I'm actually having Claude Code, make modifications. All AMP did, even though it's looking at the same directory, is searching online. Now, this
Right.
could also
Uh-huh.
be maybe it's just reviewing the changes Claude Code did, which is probably what I'll have it do next. So yeah, I don't think the problem's been solved of having like 100 agents collaborating. I've used some tools and they're like okay at it, but for like a greenfield app, you're just going to get a lot of collision at the moment.
Right. That's what I would
Yeah, I have an error, so I'm going to go tell AMP, review the installation of Shad's the end until Tailwind. I think it needs to be reconfigured. So now I can have AMP come in and fix the mess. If you saw over here, like Claude Code did a lot, but my page, right, we're currently getting an error.
Hmm.
Just one use case, but typically I'll do things like open a different model to right commit or an open a PR. And that way you don't have to like muddy the context window. So rather than saying, okay, hey, you messed something up, or hey, commit and push this to the remote repo, I could just pop open another terminal and say, review the diffs, write a commit message and push it. And that way this model still has a clean slate of context that doesn't include committing and pushing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we can see it's already messed up. Like Claude Code over here, I didn't tell it to search. It messed up.
Hmm.
It messed it up, and now AMP spotted that and it's fixing it. So
Okay.
just kind of like a little insight, but yeah, there's no like you really have to go play with it. I'd encourage anyone who's trying to learn this to just why Claude Code is nice is that you pay one price and you get like unlimited access. I think those types of pricing structures are good for someone trying to learn it. or get a feel for it, like don't worry so much about the tool. Just try to use the big names, Claude Code, AMP, Cursor, um, and find a plan that you don't have to worry about your spend or usage. Try to find something that like gives you a lot of reps at a low price so you can get a feel for the models.
All right, let's see if we can get Tailwind Chatty set up.
Yeah, this will be AGIs achieved if it can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Let me
Tailwind configuration issues.
it's
It's no joke, dude.
it's no joke. It's so yeah, you can see it's like running inference. Okay, nice. It's looking good. There, see, that is the import. And I
Hmm.
remembered I was like, that doesn't look correct. That looks like the old way. So Amp's trying, we'll see if it gets it.
That's kind of like the that's kind of like the first benchmark. It's like nailing Tailwind configuration. The next one up is like nailing like node modules and then
Yeah,
TypeScript configuration errors. The
yeah, I
day in which I
remember.
can debug my broken node modules, that's my benchmark for AGI.
Oh,
Throw in
yeah,
the
I
broken
remember.
node module, like get it fixed. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I remember what was it? Gemini. I think it might be on V4. Let's see. Might not be have it running. Blah blah blah. All right, it thinks it's done. I know, let's try to run in the dev server. All right, moment of truth. Boom, and Amp
Amazing.
saved the day.
Okay.
So, right, kind of a nice like, and that was pretty fast too and precise, and it fixed it. Um, Claude Code over here was just moving mountains. So problem solved. We now have TL1 V4 and Shad CN. So this, to your question from way earlier, like how do you know, enforce like consistent theming and styling? You could use a library or some kind of framework, you know, CSS
Yeah.
framework, and just have
Can we try clicking around to make sure everything's consistent?
yes. I don't know if it's so. There's that button looks consistent. Still not a whole lot. It already had kind of a green theme,
Yeah.
but to me that looks decent for now. Yeah, the buttons sign out,
Yeah.
same color. Uh, yeah, hover effects. Let's see the hover effects.
Yeah.
Oh, no hover effect on this button, so I'll have to fix that. But yeah, anything else I can showcase or would be helpful, viewers?
I think this is a good stopping point for today. This would be like a nice, like a good length YouTube video, just like put out. We'll go from there. All
Cool.
right.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Thanks for jumping on, Will.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I'll
your
see
time
you. Have a
here.
good one.
Yeah.